day. This is Joyce, the voice of Joyce, and this week I'm going to bring you something totally different. I did hold my first TED Circle yesterday, and it was interesting. Whether we were Democrats or Republicans didn't matter. We were all on the same page. We all feel that this pandemic has created fissures in our society that must be addressed when we are able to go back to work and when we have a government that does indeed represent us. What are those fissures? Their health care, their research and development in health care, their expanded Medicaid. There is infrastructure that absolutely is a necessity, whether we're talking about transportation or we're talking about connectedness and Wi-Fi and broadband and computers for everyone. How can kids be expected to work online when some of those kids don't even have computers? How can people become healthy and have preventive medicine when we don't even have a system that cares to go in depth into the socioeconomic responses of people to this pandemic and understand why it is hurting so many African Americans and Hispanics? It's the crowding. We have to maintain social distance, and if we're lucky, we can be self-isolated at home. That is really a luxury that many cannot afford. And now we're asking people to go back to work. Under what conditions, I ask? If the conditions are they can social distance and they have N95 masks, because temperature taking is really the last symptom in a cascade of symptoms. This is a silent killer. And many people don't know they're sick or they're carrying the virus. You can't ask people to go back to work and not stagger them or have about a third of the workforce that you would have had normally. Nor can you consider flying unless you've got a separate air system for everyone, because that circulating air is going to take one person with one carrier and one virus, and the whole plane's infected, and then whoever they see will be infected as well. Same thing for ships. What we did come up with that are absolutely positive when we're thinking about 30 million who are now unemployed and 50 million who probably need health care, the states, since the federal government is incapable of acting, must be given the stimulus money they need so that people are fed and not food insecure. However your state decides to distribute the food, that's one thing, but it's a crime to dispose of food at this point of time. It's a crime to slaughter animals when people are hungry or plow under fields of beans and other vegetables when people really need the nutrition. In my state, Fresh Direct is actually giving produce to the pantries. I employ a person to purchase my food for me, so I don't have to go out. That's good for me, and I am making a donation to her organization so that they can, in turn, support other food pantries and grocery stores. Social distancing and masks are not optional. It is something that is a necessity so that you do not spread the disease. COVID-19 is a silent killer. And it is important that most debts either be canceled for middle and lower class people or certainly suspended for the duration. Canceling rent is not a bad idea, especially if you are a small business owner of maybe 1 or 2 properties. I don't see why that person who owns the property could not go to the SBA for a loan if they were in trouble. We don't know how long this virus is going to last or how long self-quarantine is going to be in place. But we do know that most people would like to see government in their lives. They'd like to be protected from future downturns. And to do that, we're going to need strong government. Government that supports research and development on viruses full time. Government that looks into the development of scientific medical cures full time. A government that will cooperate with other governments around the world to assure that Americans get the best medical advice possible. This is not a time to have small government because, as we've seen, small government exists for the ultra wealthy. That's who got about 75% of the stimulus that was put out there, the ultra wealthy and the large corporations. We need equality neutral because we, the people, need help to survive these trying times. When I spoke to my folks in the TED Circle, what was really important to them was a sense of community, a sense of being able to be with friends and play the games that they normally would play, whether they were card games or other types of amusements. That's what's important to people, is connections, friends, family, and beyond that, not so much. And then we talked about cars, and we said, yes, cars have a future in our society. Maybe not fossil fuel cars, but certainly electric. And I'm for electric, but not with the plug-ins that you have to worry about. Why can't we devise a way to swap our batteries? Have electric cars that go the distance for 300 miles and have a gas station convert so that it does not only have modified fossil fuels, but it also has a stack of batteries that are good to go. So you pull in, you swap out your battery, get a new one, and you're on the road in a matter of minutes. I think that's an idea to be explored. The fossil fuel industry, as I've said before, knew they were in the sunset of their lives. And by golly, they are. And for good reason. All of us want clean air and clean water. They're diametrically opposed to it. For 50 years, they've been trying to convince us that the scientists are wrong and that climate aberrations that we see are merely going away. Well, once the fossil fuels went out of our lives, our planet started to get rid of pollution. And since pollution carries the virus in its path, that's a good thing for humanity. Unfortunately, it's not going to save enough of us in time. I listened to Fauci today after promising to be on a news blackout for at least 2 days. And though he was encouraging about a vaccine, I've heard now that we would have a vaccine in September and maybe January. So this is a long haul. We don't have time to wonder about how we're going to feed people. It's a necessity to feed people now. We don't have time to wonder how they're going to pay their debts. They're not going to. It won't be possible. All you can do is rely on the credit card companies and other organizations that I'm sure have had insurance policies to protect them from their debt. Otherwise, it looks like this may be a time of a great equalization, when those who have more money than the rest of them do what Bill Gates and others are doing, giving back to society. Gates is working on tracking and tracing methods and testing methods and vaccines. Other people can be contributing to pantries. Unionization is going to be the next leveler. It is going to be a way for all of us to climb the social mobility ladder once again. And don't think austerity, think prosperity. Because if it doesn't happen now, once there is a new administration, it is the only way to go. May take time to rebuild, but rebuild we must, and we must do it better, and we can. I just finished reading about Winston Churchill, and it's interesting. Great Britain remained 80% in debt. We gave them carte blanche. We forgave all their loans, and they were able to rebuild, and they rebuild grandly. You wouldn't know today that London suffered so much during World War II. It took them a decade. It may take us a decade, but we have wasted so many years in stagnation. It will be a pleasure for people to do meaningful work. And we are going to need IT, we're going to need AI, and we're going to need short, medium, and long-term planning. No use crying over spilt milk? Sure, we wasted 5 months because the Trump administration and Donald Trump were in total denial or care about the health and well-being of the American people. But innovation is starting to occur, and I hope that more people will be saved because of it. Lives come first. And when they're thinking about manning all of the food processing plants, well, you've got executives too that can pitch in and work on the lines as well. And then if they need safety measures, put it in place for all of your people. Meanwhile, give the states the money they need. We haven't misused them, not one bit. And if our governors can be clever enough to figure out a way how to dispense services to people and get them the equipment they need to be protected during these times, God bless. I'm all for safety and wellness, along with all of you. So, have a blessed day, everyone. See you next week. Talking to you from self-quarantine. And I'm hoping I'm not here for the duration, though who knows what will happen. I'll be in unless I know the coast is clear. Take care, and God bless everyone who's working as a first responder, whether you're delivering groceries in our hospitals, the police, the teachers, every one of you. God bless you all for doing the jobs that so many of us can't. Take care, everyone. This was the voice of Joyce coming to you again, and many blessings. Thank you.